Finland, land of endless lakes and ancient saunas, reindeer herds, and Nokia phones, heavy metal bands, and profound silence. This northern nation has become famous worldwide for surviving everything history throws at it. But how did this frosty, forested country actually happen? Let's take our time and explore Finland's remarkable journey. We begin at the very beginning, during the last ice age, when massive glaciers covered most of northern Europe. When these glaciers finally retreat around 10,000 years ago, hardy peoples slowly move into the newly revealed landscape. These early inhabitants discover a land of countless lakes, dense forests, and abundant wildlife. Hunters and fishers spread gradually across this pristine wilderness. Small farming communities eventually develop along riverbanks and lakeshores. For many centuries, scattered tribes lived throughout this region, speaking distinctive Finno-Ugric languages that differ completely from neighboring Germanic and Slavic tongues. These early Finnish peoples developed unique cultural traditions perfectly adapted to their harsh but beautiful environment. Shamanic beliefs connect them spiritually to the natural world. Elaborate oral traditions preserve ancient wisdom through long winter nights. Ding-dong, Viking raiders and traders begin appearing along Finland's coastlines during the 8th and 9th centuries. These Scandinavian adventurers establish trading posts and occasionally settle permanently. Finland finds itself caught uncomfortably between powerful neighbors, Sweden to the west and Novgorod to the east. Neither of these expanding powers proves particularly peaceful or friendly toward Finnish independence. Swedish kings eye Finnish timber and furs with growing interests. Russian princes consider Finnish territories natural extensions of their realm. Knock knock. The 1100s bring Swedish crusaders carrying both swords and crosses into Finnish territory. These military expeditions officially aim to spread Christianity among pagan Finnish tribes. In reality, they established permanent Swedish political control over Finnish lands. For the next several centuries, Finland becomes an integral part of the Swedish kingdom. Swedish law replaces traditional Finnish customs. Swedish nobles receive land grants throughout Finnish territories. Swedish kings expect Finnish peasants to provide military service and pay heavy taxes. Despite this foreign domination, distinctive Finnish culture continues developing underground. Ancient folklore traditions survive through oral transmission. The sauna becomes a central institution of Finnish life. Winters remain long and harsh, but Finnish communities learn to endure and even thrive. The 1700s transformed Finland into a contested battlefield between two expanding empires. Sweden and Russia fight repeatedly for control over strategic Baltic territories. Finnish communities suffer terribly as foreign armies march back and forth across their lands. Sometimes Swedish forces control Finnish territories. Other times, Russian armies occupy the same regions. Local populations find themselves constantly caught between competing military forces and political systems. Survival becomes the primary concern for ordinary Finnish families. Ding dong. The early 1800s bring decisive change to Finland's political status. Napoleon's European wars create opportunities for ambitious Russian expansion. Tsar Alexander I launches a major campaign against Swedish Finland during the winter of 1808 to 1809. In 1809, Russian forces achieve complete victory over Swedish defenders. Knock knock. Finland suddenly becomes a Grand Duchy within the vast Russian Empire. However, this arrangement proves surprisingly beneficial for Finnish autonomy and cultural development. Rather than imposing direct Russian rule, Tsar Alexander grants Finland remarkable self-governance privileges. Finnish laws remain in effect throughout the territory. Local assemblies continue meeting and making important decisions. Finland even maintains its own currency and postal system. Helsinki grows rapidly as Finland's new capital city. Russian administrators encourage Finnish cultural development as a counterweight to Swedish influence. This enlightened policy allows Finnish national identity to strengthen considerably during the 19th century. The 1800s witnessed an extraordinary flowering of Finnish literature, music, and art. Writers begin publishing works in the Finnish language rather than Swedish. Poets collect ancient folk songs and stories that had survived through oral tradition. Most importantly, Elias Lindrat compiles these traditional tales into the Kalevala, Finland's national epic poem. This masterwork inspires tremendous pride in Finnish cultural heritage. Composer Sibelius creates musical works that capture the essence of Finnish landscapes and legends. However, Russian attitudes toward Finnish autonomy begin changing during the late 1800s. Ding dong. Russian czars initiate Russification policies designed to integrate Finland more completely into the empire. Russian language instruction becomes mandatory in Finnish schools. Finnish resistance to these policies grows steadily stronger. Secret societies organize cultural and political opposition to Russian interference. Nationalist movements demand recognition of Finnish rights and traditions. Tensions increase throughout the final decades of the 19th century. World War I creates chaos throughout the Russian Empire and provides Finland with an unexpected opportunity for independence. Revolutionary upheavals in 1917 paralyzed Russian governmental authority completely. Lenin's Bolsheviks struggled to maintain control over core Russian territories. Knock knock. Finnish leaders recognized this moment as their chance for freedom. On December 6, 1917, Finland formally declares independence from Russian rule. After more than 7 centuries of foreign domination, Finland finally becomes a sovereign nation. However, independence immediately triggers devastating internal conflict. Finnish society splits violently between competing political factions. The Reds, supported by Russian Bolsheviks, advocate socialist revolution and workers' control. The Whites, backed by German military assistance, fight to establish conservative parliamentary government. This civil war proves absolutely brutal and traumatic for Finnish society. Brother literally fights against brother in countless communities. Atrocities occur on both sides as political hatred overwhelms traditional Finnish solidarity. Eventually, the white forces achieve victory, but national reconciliation takes many years. The newly independent Finland faces enormous challenges during the 1920s and 1930s. Building democratic institutions from scratch proves difficult and contentious. Economic development requires careful balancing between agricultural traditions and industrial modernization. Then comes Finland's greatest test. In 1939, Stalin's Soviet Union demands territorial concessions and military bases from Finland. When Finnish leaders refuse these demands, the Red Army launches a massive invasion during the harsh winter months. Ding dong, the Winter War begins with overwhelming Soviet numerical superiority. Russian forces expect quick victory over this small Nordic country. Instead, Finnish defenders shock the entire world with their extraordinary resistance and military effectiveness. Finnish soldiers fight with remarkable skill and determination. White camouflage uniforms make them nearly invisible against snowy landscapes. Ski troops strike quickly at Russian columns, then disappear into dense forests. Molotov cocktails destroy Soviet tanks in desperate close-quarter battles. Despite heroic resistance, Finland cannot indefinitely resist Soviet military might. The peace treaty forces Finland to surrender significant territory, including the strategically important Karelian region. However, Finland maintains its precious independence. In 1941, Finland reluctantly allies with Nazi Germany during the Continuation War, hoping to regain lost territories. This decision creates moral complications that haunt Finnish foreign policy for decades. Ultimately, Finland survives the war by making peace with the Soviets and paying heavy reparations. Post-war Finland faces an extremely delicate geopolitical situation. The country must rebuild while carefully managing relationships with both the Soviet Union and Western democracies. This challenging balancing act becomes known internationally as Finlandization. Finland adopts strict neutrality policies designed to avoid provoking Soviet suspicions or Western disappointment. Finnish leaders pursue friendly relations with Moscow while maintaining democratic institutions and market economics. This diplomatic tightrope walking requires extraordinary skill and patience. Remarkably, Finland not only survives this difficult period, but actually prospers. Industrial development accelerates rapidly during the 1950s and 1960s. The education system undergoes comprehensive reforms that eventually produce world-leading academic results. Social democratic policies create an extensive welfare state that provides security for all Finnish citizens. Income inequality decreases significantly, while living standards rise throughout society. Finland becomes a model for combining economic growth with social justice. Ding dong, the 1990s bring dramatic changes to Finland's international position. The Soviet Union's collapse in 1991 finally frees Finland from decades of careful diplomatic constraints. Finnish leaders can now pursue European integration without fear of Russian retaliation. Finland joins the European Union in 1995, enthusiastically embracing Western economic and political systems. The technology sector experiences explosive growth during this period. Nokia Corporation becomes a global leader in mobile phone manufacturing, making Finnish technology famous worldwide. Modern Finland consistently ranks among the world's happiest and most successful countries. The education system produces remarkable results in international comparisons. Social trust levels remain extraordinarily high by global standards. Environmental policies lead international efforts towards sustainability. Finnish design achievements gain worldwide recognition through companies like Marimekko and Arabia Ceramics. Surprisingly, Finland also becomes a major center for heavy metal music, producing more metal bands per capita than any other country. Contemporary challenges include debates about NATO membership, which Finland finally joins in 2023 following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Climate change affects Arctic regions particularly severely. Immigration increases cultural diversity while raising integration questions, from Ice Age hunters to Viking trading posts, Swedish Crusades to Russian imperial rule, Winter War heroics to Nokia phones. Finland's journey represents triumph over geography and history. Through everything, Finns maintain their distinctive culture of resilience, innovation, and quiet determination. That's Finland's remarkable story. By